It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
We welcome you back to the program. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller, and I say back because we're doing the second of two parts with Hedda Fay, the Community Outreach Manager with Northland Cares. We talked before about HIV and AIDS, what it is, what it isn't, why you should be concerned, and we're going to talk a little bit more maybe about that, about hepatitis C, which is a problem in a similar fashion to AIDS in how it is conveyed in our community. And Hedda's going to explain all of that here in just a couple of minutes, but I want to get into also more about the specific services that Northland Cares offers, how people can take advantage of those, who needs to, what, all of those kinds of things. So first we say welcome back and happy to have you here in studio again.
Thank you, Brad. I'm happy to be here.
When I said they're kind of in an omnibus fashion, really, that Hep C and HIV are very similar, are they in the way that folks who are listening could contract either of those illnesses?
So HIV is different than hepatitis C. Humans have had hepatitis C much longer than we've had HIV. Okay. And hepatitis C can actually survive outside of the body on surfaces, hygiene items, you know, toenail clippers, razors, any place where you can get blood for a couple weeks. Whereas HIV cannot survive outside of the human body.
Okay.
So hepatitis C is more transmissible. There's probably more people living with undiagnosed hepatitis C than HIV. Hepatitis C is still the number one reason people need a liver transplant, which aren't easy to come by. Right. And it still kills about 15,000 people a year in the U.S.
Okay. When we talk about the last show, you opened with kind of a dramatic statement that HIV very often is transmitted through, like for first responders, because of needle sticks.
Sure.
People in cleaning out clothing, say at a donated,
thrift shop or any place where they receive clothing,
hotel
bedding
workers.
Donations, housekeepers.
Is Hep C a threat in the same way?
Absolutely. Hep C can also survive in a syringe. Also, hepatitis B. Now, there is a vaccine for hepatitis B. There's no cure. There's no vaccine for hepatitis C, but there is a cure.
Okay. Seems strange, but okay.
But they are both considered STDs, hepatitis B and hepatitis C, because you can get those through unprotected sex. They're found in blood, semen, pre-seminal fluid, vaginal fluid, rectal fluid, and breast milk.
Okay, so in that sense, they're kind of under the same umbrella.
Sure. And they're both viruses. So like with most viruses, other than Hep C now, if you get it, if you get hepatitis B, you'll have it for the rest of your life. If you get HIV, you will have it for the rest of your life. Both of those viruses are very treatable.
Right. That's the good news.
That's the good news. The bad news is you could be living with them and not know it. So it's important to get tested. If you've ever had unprotected sex, if you were a person who injected drugs and you're now in recovery, get tested for these viruses so you can get treatment, or if you have hepatitis C, get cured.
When you say hepatitis C, to me, the first thing I think of is going to be bathroom and hygiene.
Yeah.
Is that accurate or inaccurate? Is that how it's spread mostly, or is there any one single
I think sharing
cause that's more than the others?
I think sharing like toenail clippers and razors, it's about 6 or 7% that people get it.
See, I wouldn't even have thought of that.
Right. But think about, have you ever clipped your toenails or shaved and bled?
Yeah.
So
there you go.
That's how it's going to survive on those hygiene items.
Okay.
So don't use somebody else's razor or toenail clippers if you're in their shower.
Right.
And you don't know their status. I'm just saying, use your own hygiene items if you can.
It becomes common sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Which isn't always common, right?
All right. Well, now let's talk a little bit more about whether it's Hep C, whether it's HIV, AIDS, and the preventions of those. Mm-hmm. Your group, Northland Cares, does an awful lot and has for some 20 years. And I told you before the last show when we visited. I've never heard of Northland Cares,
Right.
yet you've been in Yavapai County for 2 decades.
Yes, and I hear that a lot too. So we're trying to change that, and thank you for having us on your show
Well,
so
sure.
we could do that.
It's an important service for the community, and people, if they don't know you're there, they can't take advantage.
Right. So we have installed condom dispensers at Embry-Riddle, Prescott College, Yavapai College, where students, faculty, and staff can get free prophylaxis. We pass out and distribute about 20,000 condoms a year,
Okay.
which I'm very proud of because condoms help in the stop of spread of HIV, Hep B, Hep C, and other STDs, but they're not 100%. Condoms can break.
Right.
We also have female condoms that, women can insert similar to a diaphragm. We also provide dental dams for cunnilingus and analingus because STDs can go from our mouth to people's genitals and from genitals and rectums to our mouths.
Okay, your partnerships with these organizations. You know where I'm going to go. I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate because it's going to be people even in our audience who hear what you just said and start calling on the phone.
Sure.
But it's important. It's a health matter.
It is. And we have an ethical obligation to provide sexual health prevention and information because, Brad, you and I are both primates, right? We're both animals.
We're animals.
And next to our desire to survive, the fight, flight, and freeze, is our hardwired reproduction. We are hardwired to reproduce as primates. So people have hormones, pheromones, I've been accused of literally with a table of condoms trying to promote promiscuity, and it's not. Like, I want people to be able to enjoy sex because sex should be enjoyable, but also as safely as possible.
Right. Now,
and it's how we express ourselves. It's how we share ourselves, right?
The dispensing that you mentioned so far, the one thing that rings true to me is those are going to be largely adult populations that you're working with.
Right, at the colleges and universities.
There you go. Now, when we start to talk about younger people, meaning school people, school children under 18, doesn't that become a whole nother matter, or does it, or should it?
Well, one of the highest groups for all STIs nationally is the ages of 13 to 24. And if you think about when you were young, it's been a long time for me, but you get those feelings, those butterflies in your stomach.
Those curiosities trump hunger and need for sleep.
Sure,
when you're a certain age. But you see what I'm getting at. Do you work with schools where there's going to be children under 18?
We have worked with charter schools. The Yavapai County Community Health has an excellent program with Cindy Garman and her team, and they go into the public schools and provide sexual health education.
Gotcha.
And that's important because they're able to help kids who are being sexually abused at home or might be trafficked. And yes, we do have kids in our own community that get STIs, that get pregnant, that are trafficked and abused. And Yavapai Community Health Services does a good job with that education. Have we given condoms to teenagers at events? Yes.
Okay.
And,
at the invitation of the event provider, you don't just show up, pop up a tent.
No.
A table.
We're invited, and often we have parents that come to us and ask us to talk to their kids about it. We have these pamphlets called Bits Kits, Prevention for Your Nether Bits, that have a lot of STI information and also free condoms in there because kids are having sex.
Yeah.
Even if it's masturbatory and it's self-pleasure, that is a safe form of sex, but it is also that, it's sex.
Well, it's why kids go to school when they're young. Young is the time to learn about things. And sometimes grown-up things need to be taught when we're young and not ready to make grown-up decisions about those kinds of things.
Right. And we don't know that there's risk along with those feelings and wanting to be liked. And, kids can be pressured into things that they're not ready for, which is why education and prevention is important. It saves lives. It prevents unwanted pregnancies and STDs. Nobody wants an STD. And if you're out there living with one, there's no shame in that. We should be able to talk about STDs like we talk about the C word, COVID, right? The flu, pink eye.
Health issues.
Health issues, because these are important health issues.
If there is an underage, and I'm using 18, a student or several students out there who are listening to the show and approach you outside the school, just call your number, go to your website looking for condoms or treatment or whatever. Mm-hmm. Can you work with underage? Underage sounds like the wrong word, but young people.
So we can test people age 13 and older without a parental consent.
Okay.
We can do an HIV test. We can do a hepatitis C test. And we can...
Can you provide prophylactics?
We would want to talk with them.
Sure.
And if a child, we've had young people come to us needing it because they can't go to their parents.
Well, that's what I was trying to get to.
Or that could be the reason they need it because of what's happening at home. And then we would assist them in getting help from law enforcement, from the Yavapai Family Advocacy Center, and places that specialize with those types of abuse.
Every single person that looks at your website, comes through your door, rings your phone, is going to have a different story.
Sure.
And so to sit here on the show, I understand why you can't kind of say yes, no, yes,
right.
Because everyone's going to have a different story and there's going to be different outcomes. There's going to be different, methodologies to help that person.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we're well networked so we can get them to the professionals that specialize in those areas if that's not our wheelhouse.
Gotcha. Okay. I want to take a short break. We'll talk more about some of the services at Northland Cares. Hedda Fay is Community Outreach Manager. I'm Brad Miller. It's Countywide, and we'll be back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley. And your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is Lewis Rice with Rice Accounting, Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, with a very sincere thank you for your continued business over the last 20 years. All of us at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service are very honored for the many community awards we've been given over the years. As always, we are open year-round, providing services for taxes, payroll, and bookkeeping. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona, can help you with all your tax and accounting needs. For our nearest location, call 800-234-1040.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program. Again, Hedda Fay is our guest today, Community Outreach Manager with Northland Cares. And there was something you were sharing with me off mic that I was stunned to hear. We've talked about HIV, AIDS, mostly in our first show together, Hep C and some of those problems, Hep B and C. But syphilis is an issue. You say syphilis, I think Al Capone,
right?
And it ended with him.
No, syphilis is a bacteria. It's an STD, and Arizona is number one for syphilis, and we're number one for congenital syphilis.
Okay, now, when we say number one, most cases per capita, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, we're number one in the country for numbers per capita. And it's because a lot of people think syphilis went away. Syphilis is the great pretender because it looks like a lot of other things in people. It looks like meningitis. It looks like you're losing your eyesight. Your hearing's going bad. And people think you only get those problems with latent syphilis. You can have neuro or ocular syphilis in the first stage of syphilis. So last year we had over 200 babies in Arizona born with syphilis. And understand this bacteria is curable for the mother and the baby in vitro. So these are women not getting quality care or
unaware that they have
unaware that they have it. And we have about one baby in Arizona that dies every 2 weeks. So every time you get your paycheck, another baby basically dies in Arizona.
Because of syphilis. I had no idea.
Right. And this is preventable.
Now, we think of it as an STD.
It is.
Is that correct way to think of it? Okay.
It is an STD. And, the first sign of syphilis is a small painless canker. And that's either going to be in your mouth, in your vaginal area, or your rectal area. So if you're not checking your undercarriage after you have unprotected sex, you're not going to see it. And because it's painless, most people think something has to hurt for it to be a problem for you. So you could have that painless canker in your mouth and, does it hurt, Brad? No. Okay. I wouldn't worry about it. That goes away. Then the person's going to get a full body rash, and this is on their torso, their back.
There's plenty of notice if you are thinking and looking, but nobody is because, like you said, I'm not kidding. I thought Al Capone died of it 100 years ago, and I didn't think it ended with him seriously, but I thought it was not a concern. I would never have thought to be tested specifically for that, even in my wild days.
Right. So, and you don't hear about it. So yeah. I want to ask you this. If a person in Arizona killed 26 babies, they'd be national news, international news.
Right.
But because it's syphilis, let's not talk about it.
Well, why? Let me bounce back, though. Why is we're number one, you say, in cases per capita. Why? How? What is it about Arizona?
I think it's a multitude of things. I think it's, and syphilis numbers are on the rise across the country, but we've had a significant increase in Arizona. The total number of babies now dying from it used to be the total number of babies born with it 8, 9, 10 years ago. So that's a significant increase from 26 total cases to now 26 dying and over 200 cases.
That's an explosion. 10 years is not that long a time.
Right. And
not for a change like that.
Right. This is a big epidemic in Arizona. There's different reasons that it's exploded like this. I know that the Department of Health Services is looking at that. We're hoping to get rapid syphilis tests so we can start doing testing alongside the HIV and Hep C. But with our telehealth and our in-house prep, we test people every 3 months for the other STDs, and we're finding it in Yavapai County. So get tested. And most women think that when they get their well woman's exam, they're getting all these tests. That's not happening.
You need to ask specifically.
You need to ask for full panel testing. And a lot of doctors, ask yourself, when was the last time your doctor, Brad, had a sexual health discussion with you?
Right.
He knows you're married.
Right.
But has he ever said, what kind of sex are you having? Are you sexually active?
Right.
A lot of providers don't ask about that. And a lot of people, when we're testing them, we're the first people to have a sexual health discussion. And it really should be more, with healthcare professionals, primary healthcare providers, gynecologists, proctologists, urologists, have these discussions. And if you have a patient that you're sending for CAT scans and you're not finding anything on that or the MRI, do a syphilis test. It's a blood test.
Well, given the numbers in our community, I would think that medical professionals would be ahead of this at least a little bit. Sounds like perhaps not.
I don't know that they're all aware.
I've been to the doctor
numbers.
in the last 3 months. No, she's not asked me any of that kind of stuff.
No.
But again, I'm an old grandpa, hopefully younger people and people who are, sexually active and especially aren't partnered with an SOS.
Right.
Maybe that's more of a conversation, but it doesn't sound like maybe it is.
Sure. And some people are in a committed monogamous relationship, but make sure you and your partner both have the same definition of what's committed and what's monogamous. Right. To make sure, that you're safe.
I had no idea. Syphilis, I don't know the last time my mouth spoke that word. Is it treatable, curable?
It's curable.
That's good.
It's curable with antibiotics, but, and I think, for people that work in the hospitals, we do have people being hospitalized for syphilis because the bacterial loads are so high that some of them need, to be getting IV therapy for it. A shot won't do it.
Wow.
Because they've had it so long, being undiagnosed. And we have a syphilis cartoon coming out next month, which will be on our YouTube channel and our social media. So please check those out. We already have cartoons of HIV and Hep C where they talk about themselves as viruses.
Okay, so like animated presentations of different... Okay.
Yeah, and
it's a great way to reach out.
Yeah, we did that because most of us have learned through cartoons, right?
Yeah. Yeah, education.
Yeah.
Right.
And if we can have a little levity, it sticks with people.
Oh,
Not
absolutely.
that I find any of these funny. I don't.
Right.
But we want people to learn and...
Whatever will help get that message...
Correct
out there and sticking with people so they act.
Yes.
Let's take a short break. It's Countywide. Our guest is Hedda Fay with Northland Cares. We'll break and be back to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is Lewis Rice with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, with a very sincere thank you for your continued business over the last 20 years. All of us at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service are very honored for the many community awards we've been given over the years. As always, we are open year-round, providing services for taxes, payroll, and bookkeeping. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona, can help you with all your tax and accounting needs. For our nearest location, call 800-234-1040.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
As we wrap up our second of two parts with Hedda Fay, Community Outreach Manager, Northland Cares, it kind of occurs to me, and I know that you felt this, you mentioned it to me a little bit, what you talk about are very, very, very grown-up subjects. Sometimes they involve people who are not yet grown-ups. It's about healthcare. It is about understanding. It is about learning things you may be uncomfortable with or unfamiliar with. I'm talking to the general public here. And sometimes we use terminologies that we think, wow, I don't hear that on the radio every day. Sometimes we have discussions, as we've been having, that I don't hear on the radio every day. And that's exactly the point that you're on the radio today.
Correct.
Is to talk about those kinds of things. To people who might find some of these conversations unsuitable for family hour, or just maybe that indicates there's a fear of investigating a little bit more and having a healthier community by what Northland Cares does and people finding out more. Right.
We need to have these discussions. We need to be able to have them in a constructive, educational way. Stigma kills.
Yeah.
Lack of education kills.
Hiding from this kind of talk is
what
puts you backwards.
And it's what allows bacterial STDs like syphilis to increase in numbers. Yeah. And kill more babies.
Yeah.
And,
that's
being able to...
statistic.
we have to support pregnant mothers. We have to support them and encourage them to get help, get prenatal exams, talk to their providers, and not be afraid to be tested. It is not a crime as a pregnant mother to have an STD. That's not a criminal offense. And STDs are either treatable or curable. And we need to have these discussions and make it okay to talk to young people and older people. You know, a lot of older people don't want to use condoms because they think I'm not going to get pregnant. Well, right. But you can get an STD.
Other problem.
You can get syphilis. You can get gonorrhea. You can get chlamydia. You can get HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. So
listen, we need to wrap up, but let's leave our audience again with your website, phone number. If they heard anything on this program or the one preceding it, our two parts culminating with Hedda Fay, reach out, get the answers, get the correct information for your own self, your family, your own health. How do they get a hold of you?
So they can call our office, 928-776-4612. That's our office in Prescott, 928-649-0833 if you're in Cottonwood. If you want to reach outreach, 928-771-0023. Wait, I said that, right?
I'm not sure, but it bears repeating. I was going to say, or find you the way I did. Northland Cares on Google will take you right to the terrific website. A lot of great information just there.
www.northlandcares.org. And our on-call PEP is 928-910-6707. Call us. We're here to support everyone throughout Yavapai County.
We thank you. Hedda Fay, Community Outreach Manager, Northland Cares. I'm Brad Miller. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.